Hi, have you ever wondered if you've been or were nearly sex trafficked? No, I didn't think you would. But as I've been reading these Epstein files and all about all the shenanigans that's going on, it's made me think. And I started thinking back to the mid 1980s. I'm 62 now, and that was about 45 years ago when I was about 18, 19, and I wanted to go to university. And the more I think about it, the more these memories come surfacing. And I think I've dodged a bullet. I think I was nearly sex trafficked at the age of about 18, 19 in the 1980s. And I'm very glad I didn't. And I'm hoping this will be a warning to other girls. And I'm really hoping that maybe one or two of the girls that were there at that time can realise that I'm talking about them and maybe get back in touch to let me know that they're okay. It's a bit of a long story. What happened was I wanted to go to university to do art, fine art, and I was on a foundation course in about 1983. And I was ready to leave home, ready. I'd split up with my boyfriend. I was living at my parents' house. Ironically, it's this house that I'm back in at the moment. And I was ready to leave home, wanted to go to uni, wanted to do fine art. And I got glandular fever for a couple of months and missed the last 2 months of my course. And when I went back in, everybody was going off to do their interviews for university. And my booth, my little work area, had been stripped of all my work, all my portfolio work. So I had very little to take with me for interview for my portfolios to get into uni. So I went to the universities, a couple of interviews, and failed to get in. I was put on a waiting list for one, and they said try again next year. So I thought, well, what am I going to do for a year? Incidentally, I did get back into uni that year, but that's a different story. So I thought, what am I going to do for a year? I don't want to be at my mum's. And I looked in the newspaper, the local paper, Manchester Evening News, and I saw an advert, a little tiny square, cheap little advert that said, girls 18 to 22, interest in art, would you like to spend a year selling paintings in Italy, all expenses paid, £100 a day? And I was like, yeah, yes, I would. And so I applied. I went to an interview. I got the job, and I was told to go to Margate. I think it was somewhere like Margate, somewhere down south, a long way from Manchester. And I went there, and they said they were going to put us up in a hotel for about 3 days while they sorted out our flights. And we had to give them our passports. So I gave them my passport, and I was in a room with a girl, I think she was called Jill, and we had all expenses paid in a hotel in Margate. And which was great. And there were about 6 of us, all girls, all aged about 18, 19, and one very pretty boy. And we were all blonde, apart from Jill, who had short dark hair, and she was about the same age as me, though. And we got on very well and spent 3 great days in Margate in this hotel. We weren't allowed to leave the hotel, but we had a nice time there. It was a good hotel. And then they said, oh, there's a delay. One of the passports has got a problem with it. There's a delay getting the flights. So we're going to be staying another 3 days. And I was starting to get a bit bored. And I went to the people and said, when are you going to teach us about the paintings? And they said, what paintings? And I thought, and that was my first red flag. Didn't know what a red flag was then, but that was my first red flag. I thought the paintings were supposed to be selling. I was really interested in Italian culture. I'd read all about the Romans, about the Borgias, about Italian architecture. And paintings. I wanted to do art. I wanted this to be an arty year abroad, seeing life. And I said, yes, the paintings. When are you going to teach us how to sell the paintings? And we don't know anything about them. And oh, yes, you'll learn all about that when you get there. I thought, okay. And I was talking to the other girls. I didn't really talk to the bloke, but I talked to the other girls. And we'd all got a similar story, and that we were wanting to get away And they had asked at interview, they asked everybody, including me, they said, is there anyone who will miss you? Do you have anybody like a partner, a husband, a boyfriend, family? And I was just wanting to get away. And so I said, no. I said, no family. They're not going to be bothered about me. I don't see them, which wasn't true. And I said, no partner. I just split up with my partner. And all the others, their parents were dead, or their family was dead, or they had no family, or they're in a different country from them. And that was the second red flag. And the more I talked to them, the more I realised that none of us had any connections anywhere. Although I did have a family at home. I just wanted to get away from them. And everybody else had nothing. And so on about the fourth day, I phoned my parents. I went out to a payphone, phoned my mum, and she said, get out now and take as many of the other girls as you can with you. I've researched. She was a great sleuth, my mum. That was her job. She worked for John Rylands Library in the catacombs down below, just sleuthing and researching. She said, I've researched the company. They don't exist, but the name of one of the people from the advert, they've had a court case against them for something. And she said, I'll pay for your train. Get out now, get a train. And I thought, they've got my passport. So I went back into the hotel. Everybody was jolly, but they still hadn't told us anything about paintings. And they were all just, the organisers, about three of them, were just off somewhere doing other things. And we'd been left just to sit around. And so first of all, I said it to my roommate, Jill, and I said, we need to leave. My mum said this, and she was like, I don't really want to leave. And I said, we need to persuade the others. And my mum said she'd pay for her train, so that was okay. And we went to persuade the others, and they all said no. All five of the remaining ones said, no, we want to stay here. We haven't got anything else. We've got no home. We've got no family. We just want to get away. We'll chance it. And I said, it seems like, my mum said, there's something dodgy going on. It seems like they're not who they say they are. And they were like, we'll chance it. We've got nothing else going for us. And so I gave them, this was before phones or anything, mobile phones, and I gave them my address, my parents' address and phone number, and said, send me a postcard or ring me when you get there, just to let me know that it's safe. And then I went to the organisers and said, can I have my passport back, please? And they were really annoyed with me, really annoyed. I mean, understandably, if it had all been real, then they would have been annoyed. But they told us that they hadn't got the tickets yet. But then they said, oh, you're wasting our time. We've got your tickets, your plane tickets. You can't possibly let us down. And yet only that morning they'd said they hadn't got the tickets, and that there was a delay and they still hadn't got them yet. So I knew that wasn't true. And so I kicked them a fuss, made a fuss, told them I'd been in touch with my parents, and they went, right, here's your passport back. And they gave it to the other girl as well, luckily. And we both left, and the others said, we will get in touch. We promise we'll get in touch. We'll tell you it's fine. Are you sure you don't want to stay? All this sort of stuff. And off we went. We went and got a train, a very long train. It took most of the day, all the way back from Margate to Manchester. And on the way back, we were talking about how we dodged a bullet. And I thought, phew, thank goodness, chatting away. And then gradually, Jill said, I know of other things you can do if you want to earn £100 a day. She said, I know a man in Manchester, I can't remember his name, she told me a name, and she said he employs girls to dress up in suspenders and underwear and throw custard pies at him for £100 a day. And she said, you don't have to do anything else, just that. And I was like, no thanks, should I do it? And I know lots of other girls who do it. Why don't you come with me? Don't go home, come with me, come and do the custard pie thing. And I was like, are you joking? So I was like, no, you're all right, thanks, I'm not doing that. And I was thinking, no, I'm going home, crazy woman. And then she started suggesting other things. I know this nightclub where you can earn if you do this and if you do that. And I suddenly thought, does she work for them? Why is she trying to stop me from going home? Why is she trying to get me involved in some weird sex things that were not sex, but verging on it? And I thought, no, get out. And all my spidey senses started setting off. And I was thinking, no, get away from this girl. And she's one of them. And I never saw her again. Once we got there, I was like, thank you. And I just jumped on another train and went straight home. And I never heard from any of the girls or the bloke, never heard from any of them again. And it preyed on my mind for quite a while, and I tried to research them and I couldn't find out anything about these people. And I waited and waited for information from these girls who'd promised me, and they seemed very earnest, that they would just send me a postcard, just phone up, just do something. Never heard from them again. So if you're one of those girls and you remember me, obviously I didn't look like this. It was 45 years ago. I was young and slim and my hair was a lot blonder then. But if you can remember me, I'm Kathy, then please do get in touch and let me know that you were one of those girls and that it was real and that it was a painting job and that you did sell paintings in Italy. I mean, who knows? It could have gone anywhere, that plane. Who knows? Who knows if they're even going to Italy? Could have gone to anywhere. So please do let me know if you're one of those people, because 45 years later, I'm hoping you're all still here. Please let me know, was it real? They also talked about the next batch were coming, because ours was going to be 6 days long, our stay. And they said the next batch of girls, and possibly men, were coming after 7 days. So they wanted to be out by the time the next lot came. So it seemed to be an onward going thing. So it could have been an advert for paintings abroad, could have been an advert for something else abroad. They didn't seem to remember that they'd said paintings when I asked them. But if you were one of these people, or if you got caught up in anything like that, or if you went to Italy and it was paintings, and I missed something really good, all expenses paid in Italy, with £100 a day selling paintings at the age of 18, then please do let me know if this was real, because it's only now that I'm realizing how gullible I probably was and what a fool I was and how easy it is I'm not stupid, but I believed them. I just believed it, and I wanted it so much to be true that I was willing to go. And if my mum hadn't said that to me, I'd have gone. And those other people didn't have mums to say that to them, and they didn't believe me. So please, please, please let me know. If you're one of those people, did you have a good time selling paintings in Italy? Did you see the world, or was it something else? I'm hoping I hear from people. Thank you. How stupid was I? But please don't do the same thing. If you're 18 now, or 20, or wanting to get away, read the small print. There was no small print with mine. It was just a tiny advert. And just think about it before you do anything stupid. Bye.